The show focused on delivering beneficial information on everything to do with products and services that can improve your life. This is Experts on Call on AM 650.
Welcome back to the program. I'm Sterling Fox. Joining me in studio is Norburn Lighting and Bath's marketing manager, Norm Brown, who is taking us through the house as we are in dead center in the middle of renovation decision season. Here we are in April 2013. The energy of spring is in the air. The blossoms are stunning, as always, around Vancouver. And, well, people are making decisions about money and their homes. And are we going to stay here? Are we going to sell it? Are we going to fix it up? What's the deal? And a lot of people, a surprising number of people, are opting to stay in their homes, Norm. And so you've been taking us through not only the different types of lighting, but also how to light different rooms. Mm-hmm. And you said, very beginning of this conversation, the worst lit room in most people's houses is the living room. Yep. And it seems, and I was just telling you during the break, when we built our house many years ago and sat down with the architect and we did this and that and the other thing, and finally get to the lights, and we're in the living room and there's a fireplace and there's a bay window and this, that, and the other thing. And he said, okay, well, how do we light this room? And he said, well, we'll just put a couple of little pot lights in over the fireplace. And then that's usually the way it's done. And then you plug in your own lighting as time goes by. And okay, fine, because there's a million other things on your plate, and you say, fine, great, and you move on, and then you move in. Yep. And you got this lovely room and two little lights. Yep. And is that pretty typical?
You just said it. That's the architect. That's usually the way it is. Absolutely. It's terrible. The room that's got the best furniture, the best flooring, all your art, all your collectibles.
Yes.
Okay. Many cases they've got a ceiling that they've done something to make it interesting. Mm-hmm. There's all kinds of architectural features.
In our house, we lowered the floor, so the ceiling looked higher and all that.
Well, if you lowered the floor, that means you had some steps down, so you better have some step lights to solve that problem that you can't see it. Right?
And we did have a two-step down.
Sure.
And never did think to put a light there.
No, you can put lights in now at the step level so you can indicate it. So there's an indication there. You've now got a dangerous room. Mm-hmm. Okay, especially if your guests are coming along like me talking and all of a sudden I step down 2 steps instead of not knowing it's there. So, you need lamps, yes, without a doubt.
Of course.
The worst ones are when they only have the 2 lights in the fireplace and they put in shades that are black or red, and now you got no light whatsoever, right? So, but recessed lighting would give you some good general lighting. Track lighting, I solved the problem in my living room, my first condo. I put a 12-foot square of track in to replace the one pot light, and my room became really good. And the funny thing is, it was an 8-foot ceiling. I had 12 or 13 fixtures on the track, and people asked me where the light was coming from because we did it properly.
Wow. Now, were each of those tracks separately dimmable, or were they all on one master dimmer?
I only had one. I couldn't get into the ceiling, so I only had the one switch controlling one of the fireplaces.
So you had 4 tracks, and you had them all on one dimmer.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
So, again, if you do it right, I guess.
Absolutely.
I can't imagine that myself.
But people asked me where the light was coming from, and I had 12 lights in the kitchen in that little room. It was a 16 by 16 living room in my condo with my wife and I. So, you want to highlight stuff. Remember we talked the ambient light. Well, there's no ambient light in the living room because there's a silly fireplace.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
There's no accent and everything you own. I mean, bookcases on either side of the fireplace.
Sure. Yeah.
Why don't they have lighting inside the shelves to show off your bookcases? Because in my case, the bookcases are not books. They're ceramics and pot. Oh, sorry, not ceramics, potteries. My wife will kill me when she hears that one. But
collectibles,
collectibles, yeah. So they should be lit.
Absolutely.
You've probably got 2 or 3 nicest pieces of art.
Sure.
Okay. You don't want to be running wires down to plug in with picture lights. You want to be able to do it from above with track or recess. So there's all kinds of things in this room that makes it the centerpiece.
Right. And you also want, I would think, more than anything else, in addition to being your showcase, the living room also should have a bit of warmth to it.
Absolutely.
And a lot of us have fireplaces in the living room, but you don't have to. You can make a room warm simply with lighting.
Absolutely. And every layer of light should be controlled by a separate switch or dimmer, right? So that you can adjust the light levels. We spend half our life in a house that's dark. Like people come in to me and say, well, I don't need a lot of light because I'm facing west. Who cares?
Yeah, right.
When the sun goes down.
Dude, that's right.
Well, we got lots of windows. Well, windows are a major problem for a lighting designer because that wall is gone. The light that came back into the room is gone. Now you got this big black hole.
Yes.
Okay. So we get these skylights are always put in the spot where you need good light. where at night they become a big black hole. So all the neat things you do in his living room to make it really attractive, when it comes at night, it's gone.
So if you're contemplating a renovation and the living room is on the list, then get that floor plan into a Norburn Lighting store, either on East Hastings in Burnaby or on the Langley Bypass, and talk to people who will walk you through what should be done. And
Absolutely.
you talked about layers of lighting.
Sure.
So
Yep.
there's the accent lighting
Yep.
and the decorative lighting,
Yep.
the task lighting for reading if you're in the
Absolutely.
living room.
And that's nearly always floor lamps or table lamps.
Yes, yeah.
There's very little light comes from a ceiling that you can get the intensity you need for accent lighting.
You talked about people coming into the store and saying, well, I don't need this or I do need that. And in many times they've made bad decisions or uninformed decisions, perhaps. So talk to us about some of the mistakes that people make. And it's on the website, with a list of, so I took a look. And mistake number 1 says installing recessed downlights everywhere. Those ceiling pot lights, they were a big trend in the 80s especially.
Yep.
You couldn't go in anybody's house and didn't see half a dozen of them in every ceiling in the house.
Yep. Well, you need recessed lighting. I could not do a house effective without recessed lighting.
Okay, fair enough.
But you have to combine it with wall brackets, chandeliers, light fixtures. But you have to have recessed lighting to effectively light any home that I know of.
But
you have
not
to do it.
just
No,
recessed
you've got to. It's not quantity, it's quality, and it's placement.
So that's the mistake, is they just
I mean,
put them everywhere and that'll be bright now.
One of the problems I have with professionals is that, and I tell them when I lay it out, if I make your plan symmetrical I haven't done my job properly. Instead of putting 4 fixtures here and 2 more to balance,
Right.
No, if you only need 4, you only put 4 in.
Fair enough. Okay. Number 2, forgetting task lights in the kitchen. Hard to imagine, but it's a fairly common mistake.
Oh, absolutely.
Apparently.
Because everybody forgets that their body is nearly always between the task they're doing and the light source. So you've always got shadows. So task lighting is to solve that problem of shadows.
Using downlights over the vanity in the bathroom is mistake number 3. We just spent some time talking about the bathroom.
It can never be done. Any recessed light over the counter, regardless if you got wall brackets on either side, are going to cause shadows. If you remember when we were kids, we put the flashlight under our face.
Right, sure, yeah.
Well, any recessed light over the sink will cause that same problem, and makeup is impossible to put on because of the shadows.
Okay. Number 4, using incandescent or halogen sources without dimming. That'd be pretty bright, Norm.
Well, there's 3 things. Light level for comfort, but you also, if you took a dimmer and took it down to 80% of the light levels, which the human eye can't perceive,
Right.
the light bulb lasts twice as long.
Interesting. So just take a little off the top when you've got if you
Twice
have
as
a
long.
dimmer.
That's right.
And
And the dimmer's also
double
good
the
for
length
moving.
of the bulbs.
Absolutely.
Isn't that something? Mistake number 5, forgetting to incorporate ambient task and accent lighting. That layering you were talking about.
I don't know of a room that you can light properly without having 2 or 3 layers of light.
Okay.
Maybe the laundry room and the exercise room.
Fair enough,
Lots of light.
You hit the fluorescence.
You betcha.
Get
You
the
betcha.
clothes done and get
You
out.
betcha. Yeah.
Number 6, neglecting to control different types of light separately.
Every layer should have a separate light, and where they're dimmable, they should be dimmed.
Okay, number 7. My gosh, I've lost my place. Here we are, putting recessed downlights in a high ceiling for ambient light.
It can be done, but you have to. The light bulb does all the work in the recessed light. So if you've got high ceilings, it takes a different light bulb to be used. So you decide what light bulb will do the job, and then you put the recessed light in that takes this light bulb. I can light a ceiling from 16 feet if I use the right light bulb.
Interesting stuff. We're almost out of time, just enough for me to remind you of the website, which is norburnlightingandbath.com. And for Norm, a final word from you, Mr. Brown, if you would, please.
Well, light's been my passion for the last number of years, and I want to thank you very, very much for letting me do this. I really appreciate it.
Good to have you on board.
Thanks, Sterling.